Alright guys, my name is Andrew Dupree, and this is my TeensyReader, my final project for EE47 interactive device design. Okay, so basically it's not an MP3 player, it's actually a Teensy based e-reader. So my original concept was I'm interested in kind of low cost electronics for developing countries, something along those lines. And so the closest thing I could get to like a low-cost computer was on the microcontroller platform was, hey, how about a low-cost e-reader kind of thing. So that's where I kind of tried to take this. Okay, so I'll start with talking about the parts. First of all, it's a slightly improved LCD on the one we're given in class. It's a 20x4 white on blue LCD from Hacktronics. Pretty sweet, only $15. Let's see, a couple buttons on the side. I went with like a broken up D-pad sort of pattern. So the interface is simple, I think, which would be nice for people who've, for example, never used electronics before or don't have much experience with computers. But at the same time, fairly intuitive and fairly effective. On the inside here, you can see we have the TNT microcontroller. It is powered by USB right now, just because my battery subsystem kind of ended up dying at the last second. Haven't narrowed down exactly what went wrong. But that's life. And here we have the WizNet 812MJ Ethernet edition for the Teensy. Really pretty nice device, only $20. Fairly simple connections, pretty much just communicates via SPI and gets on the net. The only obnoxious part about it has a really annoying interface, 2 rows of parallel pins, so you can't actually put it in a breadboard. Anyone who's doing this in the future should really contact Paul at PGRC, the people who make Teensy. I was emailing with him, and he actually has a Teensy to WizNet PCB board, kind of a shield almost, that he's designed himself. He just hasn't gotten around to putting it on the site or the web store or anything. But definitely, if you want to use this, shoot him an email. He offered to send me one for like $10. Really nice guy. So yeah, that's the main electronics, and you can see a lot of buttons. The buttons interrupts and stuff, and a lot of soldering. It took a lot of time, but came out alright. Okay, so let's walk through the functionality. So basically, you power up and you see this home screen. 1 and 2. You can either read an article or download an article. Let's go with read for now. You can go up and down on the menu. You can watch the cursor with up and down, and my buttons are a little loose. That's something I need to work on in my design. Let's push that up a little bit. Whatever. And left and right is kind of out and in as far as depth of menu. So let's go in one. So now it automatically connects to our SD card and lists the text files we have on here. This is like your library. So let's look through what we got. We have now, unfortunately, I'm using the functionality from the MP3 library with the listing. So right now is the limit on the size of the length of the file name is about 8 characters. It's definitely something I'll change up if I have more time, just make it a little more robust, but for now it works. So let's see, if you want to read about democracy, developing countries, dinosaurs, economy, health stuff. Let's look at some health stuff, for example. This is something that could be useful to some in developing countries. Let's scroll in. Let's read about a healthy diet. Healthy diet, a balanced diet, something you eat. It contains the right amount of all the food substances. Cool. So we can scroll through that with left and right. That's something I might change to up and down after doing some trials, seeing which one is more intuitive. And then stops doing anything we get to the end. And once we get to the first page and go back one more, we go back up to our menu, back up to our other menu, etc. So yeah, pretty intuitive, I think, but a pretty effective user interface. Takes a lot more time to write one of those than you would think. The nice scrolling and everything, kind of tough to implement. So if you're doing something like this in the future, leave some time for it. Alright, so now let's go down, let's look at our internet functionality. Download article. I should talk right now, getting this thing to work on the network was tricky. The WizNet does not support DHCP, which is dynamic IP address allocation. So you have to really get on your network, know your network, and make sure that you're assigned an IP address that will work. Which means for me, I had to actually talk to the guys in Packard, the building where I am now, who manage the network and get them to assign me an IP address so that I could actually get on the network okay. And you're pretty much going to have to do that wherever you go. It'll be pretty easy if you're at home. Probably just have to end up assigning it whatever is non-taken IP address. But in a lab or a building or someplace with more kind of security, it'll be tougher. So keep that in mind. Now let's go to download article. You can see it goes to Ethernet. It's attempting to connect. The screen there flashes really quickly. I'm not exactly sure why. I put delays in the program after the output, but for some reason they're just not triggering. It might have something to do with the function is called by an interrupt. Because I know you can't have delays within an interrupt. Maybe you can have delays within a function called by an interrupt, like anywhere within the interrupt stack frame, something like that. But so I'm still working on how to really get that to stay longer. Maybe I'll implement manual busy waiting or something. But anyway, I believe it said that, and we can even look at it one more time if we want. See what we think it said. So connecting. Tough to say. It's been mostly working today. It's still kind of iffy. I think it's been working pretty well. So then, but what it does, the functionality it's implemented right now, is that it connects to a specific text file I have on my Stanford web space and downloads it to the SD card. So it's something where it might be like your daily piece of advice, like your daily piece. So to finish up right quick, we downloaded our file, then we scroll back to our document list and we can see that it's added something, daily.txt, and basically whenever I change the website, it'll update that text file. And that's kind of how it works right now. Alright, so that's the basics of the TeensyReader. As far as I know, the first internet connected final project for EE47. Pretty cool. Alright.